Many people assume faith and reason are two different roads, one intellectual and one simply spiritual. We sometimes hear people say things like, you just have to believe, as if faith means shutting off your mind. But in fact, biblical faith is not blind, and it is not irrational. In fact, genuine reason leads towards faith, not away from it, because all real truth comes from Jehovah, God of truth. This video begins my new series, Faith and Reason, where we look at faith and reason together. And today we're starting with a simple question: is faith blind? If we want to understand if faith is blind, what important question must come before everything else? What is faith? The Bible gives us the most direct definition in Hebrews 11:1, where it says, "Now faith is assurance of things hoped for, proof of things not seen." Notice these two very important key details. Assurance of things hoped for. This means confidence and not just guessing. Proof of things not seen. This means that faith is based on evidence and not just our imaginations. From the very beginning, the Bible teaches that faith involves confidence based on evidence. Jehovah never asks us to believe in something without basis. Faith is not a blind leap. It is a response to what Jehovah has already shown us about himself. Jehovah never asks his people to turn off their minds and just blindly follow him. Instead, he invites us, his servants, to reason. As Isaiah 1:18 says, "Come now, let us reason together," says Yahweh. Now, I'm using a different translation because this one's not copyrighted. But even the original Hebrew supports this meaning, where the words are literally, "Come, let us reason together," says Jehovah. This is not the language of a God who wants blind followers, but rather, this is the language of a God who respects our intelligence and wants us to understand why his ways are right. And in Romans 12 verse 1 it says, "Therefore, I urge you, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your spiritual service." Now, the original Greek phrase in this text, ten logi ken laterin, can be understood as reasoned or intelligent worship, meaning that serving Jehovah isn't just ritual or emotion. It involves understanding, thought, and deliberate choice. The Christian life isn't built on emotional impulses or blind trust. It is logical. It is thoughtful. It is intelligent. So, whenever we use our minds to examine evidence, think carefully, or explain our beliefs, we're not drifting away from the faith. We're actually honoring Jehovah's design for us. If anyone would have promoted blind faith, it would have been Jesus. Yet he didn't. In Matthew 22, when the Sadducees challenged the resurrection, Jesus didn't say, "just have faith." He reasoned with them from the scriptures. He used logic. Christ constantly offered people to examine his works, his teachings, and the evidence surrounding his identity as the Messiah. So if the Bible teaches faith and reason are compatible, where does the idea that they're not come from? Sometimes it comes from fear. Fear that if we examine our beliefs too closely, they might fall apart. Sometimes it comes from a misunderstanding, from thinking that faith and reason are enemies, when in reality, they support each other. And sometimes it comes from the world's false idea that belief automatically means you stop thinking. But the truth is actually really simple. Faith that is afraid of questions is not biblical faith. Real faith isn't threatened by reason, it is strengthened by it. Faith and reason are not opposites, just two sides of the same coin. We can think about it this way. Reason examines the evidence, faith trusts the one behind the evidence. Reason helps us understand why the Bible is reliable. Faith helps us obey the truths we learn in the Bible. Reason shows us why Jehovah exists, why his moral laws are good, and why the scriptures can be trusted. Faith is the personal response, the loyalty, the trust, the confidence that arises because of what our minds have understood. They're not competing, they're actually cooperating. And when both are working together, the result is not blind faith, it is conviction. As Jehovah's Witnesses, We are known for using the Bible and giving reasons for our beliefs. That's part of our identity. We don't simply say, believe it because we said so. We say, let's open up the scriptures and reason on this. So, when we engage in explaining, defending, or clarifying our beliefs, whether it's doctrine, prophecy, or a moral issue, we're not drifting away from the faith. We're practicing exactly the kind of worship Jehovah expects from his people. This is why apologetics, the ability to give reasons for our faith, is not something to be seen as apostasy, not something to be afraid of or seen as ignoring the organization. It is something to cultivate. So, in conclusion, is faith blind? No. Blind faith is not biblical faith. Faith is a short expectation based on evidence. It is evidence rooted in reality. It is trust supported by reason. The more we understand, the deeper our faith becomes. And the deeper our faith becomes, the more we can reason with others. In the next part of this series, we will examine a scripture which directly tells Christians to be ready to defend and explain our beliefs. 1 Peter 3:15. Make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless!